In 1927, actress Bebe Daniels posed for a Paramount publicity still for the silent adventure comedy She's a Chic, a performer at the height of the silent era, whose natural charm made her one of the decade's most reliable box office draws. In the late 1920s, actress Alma Bennett was photographed, one of the silent era's working performers whose career, like so many of her contemporaries, was reshaped by the arrival of talking pictures. Italian postcards from the silent era featured dancer and actress Greta Nissen, possibly in character from The Wanderer, directed by Raoul Walsh in 1925. Promotional material distributed internationally to build recognition for Hollywood talent across European markets. In the late 1920s, actress Myrna Loy was photographed in an image later used for a Cuban cigar brand advertisement, early career publicity work from a performer who would soon become one of Hollywood's most beloved stars. In 1925, two French women posed with their dog at the beach, captured on glass negative. An ordinary summer portrait preserving a moment of seaside companionship from an era when glass negatives still produced images of extraordinary clarity. In 1929, a not-yet-famous Jean Harlow participated in an outdoor photography session in Griffith Park, Los Angeles. Early images captured before the platinum blonde persona that would define her celebrity had fully taken shape. In the 1920s, a woman was photographed at a park using the autochrome color process, early color photography producing the characteristically soft and painterly tones that distinguished it from the sharper images that would follow. In 1933, actress Frances Day appeared in The Girl from Maxime's, a period comedy directed by Alexander Korda, a light-hearted British production from a director who would later become one of the most significant figures in the UK film industry. Around 1937, Howard Hughes photographed a young Katharine Hepburn, a rare candid image from a relationship between two of the era's most independent and famously private personalities. In 1938, Benny Goodman performed on Manhattan Beach while singer Martha Tilton provided vocals, an outdoor musical performance capturing the swing era at its most relaxed and joyful. In 1935, Clark Gable was photographed at home beside his 1931 Cadillac V12 convertible, a Hollywood star and his automobile captured together in the easy domestic setting that publicity photographs of the era worked hard to project. In 1938, Bob Dunn and his Vagabonds were photographed at the El Toro Club in Pearland, Texas, a pioneering Western swing musician who made history as the first artist to record an electrically amplified steel guitar. In 1936, actress Joan Bennett posed beside her 1935 Lincoln convertible roadster with her dog Duke, a glamorous automotive photograph from one of Hollywood's most elegant leading ladies. In 1930, silent film era actress Myrna Loy was photographed during her early career, a performer who would soon transition successfully into talking pictures and become one of the decade's most beloved stars. In 1937, Clark Gable paused from filming Saratoga to sign autographs, a moment of connection between one of Hollywood's biggest stars and the fans whose devotion sustained the entire studio system. In the 1940s, Shirley Temple was photographed during the transition from child stardom to young adult life, one of the most famous child performers in cinema history, navigating the difficult passage between two very different kinds of public identity. In 1946, Marilyn Monroe was photographed during the early stages of her modeling career, images capturing a young woman not yet known by the name the world would soon recognize. In 1947, Yvonne DiCarlo posed for promotional photographs for her film Slave Girl, studio publicity work from a performer whose exotic screen presence made her a reliable draw during Hollywood's post-war years. In 1948, Alexandria, Louisiana was photographed, a southern city documented during the post-war years before the civil rights movement would begin challenging the racial structures that governed daily life in such communities. In 1949, circus acrobats from the Kelly Miller Circus smiled for a fan in a Kodachrome slide, performers captured in a moment of warmth outside the ring. Color photography making the image feel unusually immediate. A collection of 1940s fashion was documented. clothing from a decade defined by both wartime austerity and the particular elegance that women maintained despite material shortages. Shortly after World War II in 1945, Jimmy Stewart visited his father's hardware store, a returning war hero standing beside the man who had raised him, both now adjusting to peacetime life. In 1943, Jane Russell was photographed armed and barefoot, a publicity image combining frontier toughness with the glamorous sensibility that would define her public persona throughout her career. In 1954, photographer Loomis Dean photographed Rita Moreno for her Life magazine cover shoot, early recognition for a performer who would go on to become one of the most decorated entertainers in American history. A list of 1950s hit songs captures the particular musical landscape of a decade that moved from big band swing through early rock and roll and into the polished sounds of the late Eisenhower era. A 1950s child car seat was photographed, a reminder of how dramatically safety standards have changed since an era when children routinely traveled in seats that offered almost no meaningful protection. In 1954, Marilyn Monroe was photographed on location in Idaho, between shots for Bus Stop, color images taken by Milton Green capturing the star in a relaxed moment away from the camera. In the 1950s, two women were photographed at a rocky beach on Kodachrome slide film, color photography preserving an ordinary leisure moment with the particular warmth that the film stock was known for producing. In May 1955, a group of young roller skaters gathered at the counter of a cafe attached to a rink in Norwich, England, a social scene from the early years of roller skating's post-war popularity as a leisure activity. Dovima was photographed during the 1950s, one of the decade's most iconic fashion models, her distinctive long-limbed elegance and dramatic posing style helping define the visual language of high-fashion photography. In 1953, Marilyn Monroe was photographed at the Banff Springs Hotel in Alberta, Canada, a striking location that provided a dramatic natural backdrop for one of the era's most photographed celebrities. In 1957, photographer Willie Ronis captured a couple in love at the Bastille in Paris, one of his most celebrated images, a simple moment of tenderness that became a defining photograph of post-war French romantic life. In 1955, a woman in a red dress was photographed on Kodachrome slide film, color photography preserving the fashion sensibilities and personal style of mid-decade American life. In 1953, photographer Robert Doisneau captured a moment in the 12th arrondissement of Paris, a quiet neighborhood scene from a photographer whose entire career was devoted to finding human warmth within the everyday rhythms of French urban life. In March 1956, Milton Green photographed Marilyn Monroe between shots on location for Bus Stop, Kodachrome images capturing the star in the candid, unguarded moments that studio photography never allowed. In February 1952, photographer Earl Thyssen photographed Marilyn Monroe for Valentine's Day publicity materials at 20th Century Fox, studio-arranged promotional photography that combined seasonal marketing with the star's growing cultural presence. In 1964, Anne Margaret and Elvis Presley were photographed together during the production of Viva Las Vegas, two of the era's most dynamic performers whose on-screen chemistry generated as much attention as the film itself. A collection of mod fashions from the 1960s was documented, bold geometric patterns, bright colors, and clean tailoring that captured the decade's most distinctive and influential visual aesthetic. A heavily rusted 1965 Sears Spaceliner Deluxe bicycle was restored over 20 hours of careful work, a vintage piece of American consumer culture, brought back from near-complete deterioration, with its original light preserved as documentation. In 1968, the members of Creedence Clearwater Revival were photographed dining at a Taco Bell in San Luis Obispo, one of rock history's most delightfully ordinary behind-the-scenes images. Elvis Presley was photographed with his girlfriend Anita Wood around the time of his military service, a personal moment during a period when the most famous entertainer in America had temporarily stepped away from the public stage. A cheerful trio appeared in a 1960s mail-order catalog, ordinary commercial photography reflecting the optimistic, forward-looking visual style that defined consumer advertising during the decade. In November 1961, Sophia Loren posed with a fur stole for a color transparency created by Michael Vaccaro for Look magazine, glamorous studio photography from a publication known for its high production standards. In the early 2000s, Britney Spears defined a cultural moment so completely that her image has become synonymous with the decade, a performer whose combination of talent and cultural presence made her era's most discussed entertainer. Alan Hale Jr. was photographed beside his 1965 Shelby Mustang outside his restaurant The Lobster Barrel, an actor known for one of television's most beloved comedic roles, also a genuine car enthusiast and restaurateur. In 1966, Anne Margaret was photographed riding a Triumph Tiger motorcycle, combining glamour with genuine enthusiasm for motorcycling that extended well beyond promotional photography. In 1962, Sophia Loren was photographed during a period when her international stardom had reached its absolute peak, a year in which she had already won an Academy Award and was working on several major productions simultaneously. McHale's Navy ran for 138 episodes between 1962 and 1965, a naval comedy that found enormous audiences during its run and established its ensemble cast as some of television's most recognizable comedic performers. In 1965, actress Natalie Wood was photographed between shots of The Great Race, a lavish comedy production whose troubled and expensive filming became as well known as the film itself. In the 1960s, Swedish-American actress Anne Margaret was photographed behind the wheel of a Triumph TR3 Roadster, glamour and sports cars combining into one of the decade's most enduring images. In the 1960s, Steve McQueen was photographed with Natalie Wood alongside a Jaguar XKSS, two of Hollywood's most magnetic stars sharing a frame with one of the most desirable sports cars of the era. On June 16, 1960, Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho was released in American cinemas, a film that permanently changed what audiences expected from horror, from thrillers, and from the experience of sitting in a darkened theater. In the 1960s, actress Barbara Eden was photographed during the years of her most iconic television role, an image from an era when her combination of beauty and comedic timing made her one of the most watched performers on American television. In 1965, Elizabeth Taylor appeared in The Sandpiper, a film whose controversial subject matter was somewhat overshadowed by the real-life romance between its two leads that had already captivated public attention for years. In 1960, Julie Newmar was photographed during the early years of a career that would bring her a Tony Award for Broadway work and lasting recognition through one of television's most memorable character portrayals. A wry observation about a 1970s television episode of Columbo notes the carpeted kitchen visible in the background, a domestic design choice that genuinely was common during an era whose interior aesthetic has not aged in ways its practitioners might have hoped. In 1999, Jessica Biel was photographed during the years when her television career was gaining significant momentum, and her broader entertainment presence was beginning to develop. In the 1890s, an elegant woman was photographed on glass negative, the medium producing an extraordinary level of detail that makes the image feel startlingly present despite its age. In the 1920s, women posed at a New York beach, ordinary seaside leisure captured during an era when public attitudes toward beachwear and outdoor photography were rapidly and sometimes controversially evolving. In 1948, photographer Ruth Orkin captured a father and his sons at Penn Station in New York, two generations sharing one of the city's great transit temples, a moment of quiet connection inside constant urban motion. In April 1969, a demonstrator held a sign at a Milwaukee march marking the anniversary of Martin Luther King Jr.'s assassination, ordinary citizens continuing to demand accountability and progress in the year after his death. In the 1970s, Singer Minnie Riperton was photographed during the years she was producing some of the most technically extraordinary vocal performances in contemporary soul music. In 1946, African American supporters gathered at Lake Success to advocate for the reunification of Eritrea and Somaliland with Ethiopia, an early post-war demonstration connecting Black American political consciousness with the independence movements emerging across Africa. Around 1900, a group posed in front of a shop on East Main Street in Richmond, Virginia during a Juneteenth celebration, an early documented image of a tradition that African American communities had maintained since emancipation, decades before it received wider national recognition. In 1915, an officer surveyed tornado damage at Hyde Park in Cincinnati, Ohio, documenting the aftermath of extreme weather that struck urban areas with the same indifference it showed to rural communities. In 1959, the Haymarket on East Liberty Street in Louisville, Kentucky was photographed, a commercial district whose name and function preserved a direct connection to the agricultural trading that had once defined the city's economy. On August 10, 1942, the Schlitz Brewing Company building in Milwaukee collapsed, a dramatic structural failure captured in a photograph that documented both the industrial character of the city and the wartime pressures affecting every sector of American production. In 1918, men worked at the Detroit Steel Products Company, industrial labor photographed during the First World War, when American manufacturing was operating at full capacity to supply the Allied war effort. In February 1945, men inspected the ruins of the Kate Manufacturing Building fire in Minneapolis, investigators and bystanders assessing the damage from a blaze that destroyed a major piece of the city's industrial infrastructure. In 1953, Audrey Hepburn was photographed in a striking portrait that combined elegant personal style with the natural ease in front of a camera that would define her entire screen career. In the 1990s, actress Jamie Luner was photographed during the years when her television career was gaining recognition through a long-running daytime drama. In 1972, Sybil Shepherd was photographed during the early years of a career that would establish her as one of the most recognizable faces in American film and television. Around 1950, a dancer was photographed covered in gold paint, a striking theatrical image from an era when live entertainment still incorporated elaborate visual spectacle. In 1993, Keanu Reeves was photographed in Los Angeles during the period when his career was transitioning from cult film success to mainstream leading man status. In the 1970s, Bob Marley was photographed with his son Ziggy, a quiet family moment from one of reggae music's most celebrated figures, whose son would go on to build his own significant musical career. In 1994, Liv Tyler was photographed with her mother, Bebe Buell, a mother and daughter portrait from the year Tyler's own entertainment career was beginning to gain serious momentum. In the late 1980s, Belinda Carlisle was photographed during the years following her transition from fronting a pioneering all-female band to a successful solo career. In 1968, the members of Creedence Clearwater Revival dined at a Taco Bell in San Luis Obispo, California, a photograph by Gerald Gaxiola, capturing one of rock history's most charmingly ordinary celebrity moments. In 1970, Elton John was photographed at the very beginning of a career that would make him one of the most commercially successful and theatrically extravagant performers in the history of popular music. The Happy Pirates was a Chicago children's television program that aired daily at noon on a local channel from 1952 to 1956, one of countless local children's shows from the early television era that built loyal young audiences before national programming fully dominated the medium. Sheriff Andy Taylor was photographed taking a break on the set of The Andy Griffith Show, a behind-the-scenes image from a production whose warmth and gentle humor made it one of American television's most enduring and beloved programs. McGregor was a multifaceted American performer and professional who worked as a special education teacher, nurse, accountant, and sideshow entertainer across his life, a trans man who also served as a nurturing presence and surrogate parent to many of the performers around him. In 1930, a group of Congolese women who practiced the tradition of wearing lip plates were brought to the United States to be exhibited as sideshow attractions. Given false names and invented backstories, their humanity reduced to spectacle in one of the era's most troubling examples of colonial exploitation. In 1960, photographer Otto Bettmann captured a girl waiting for a train in Chicago. One image from a career that built the most significant private photograph archive of the 20th century. In 1976, photographer Greg Girard documented a platform conductor at Tokyo's Ikebukuro station, a worker whose job required both authority and physical effort in one of the world's busiest urban transit systems. On February 20, 1899, Laura and Miriam Keel were photographed playing and laughing with a barrel at Fort Lawton, Washington, a glass negative capturing genuine childhood joy with a clarity that more than a century has not diminished. In 1896, Archduke Franz Ferdinand posed playfully as an Egyptian mummy, a light-hearted personal photograph of a man whose future assassination would become one of the most consequential events of the 20th century. Photography's remarkable quality is its ability to transform any subject, however ordinary, into something worth looking at, and the presence of a cat in a frame has a particular talent for making any image more compelling. In the 1850s, a woman holding a serving tray smiled for an early photograph, a rare candid expression from an era when long exposure times typically demanded stern, motionless poses. On April 12, 2016, 16-year-old Michaela Bali spent her final morning in Yorkton, Saskatchewan, running several errands and sending a message asking for help. She walked out of a diner later that day and has not been seen since, her disappearance remaining unresolved. On May 30, 1976, Kiss took the stage in Lund, Sweden during their Destroyer tour, bringing their theatrical rock spectacle to a Scandinavian audience during one of the most commercially significant periods of their career.